Welcome to part 4 of Curating My Life. This part is going to be talking about curating my thought life, and this is the last part of my miniseries. Um, the main point of this part is to discuss the dangers of having an undisciplined mind. Regardless of what disorder you have or whether or not you have a disorder, there's value in looking at the process, what's going on up here, um, instead of just going with the flow and letting your circumstances kind of determine what's going on. Why, do you ask? Why is that dangerous? Well, the reason it's dangerous is because if we're constantly ruminating or thinking about negative thoughts lead to negative emotions and can actually, over time, if it's habitual, can change your brain chemistry. So you can see higher incidence of depression, anxiety, things that can cause, you know, lack of functioning, struggling with functioning. So it is important to address the thought process. Um, One of the main ways that we do this in therapy is with cognitive behavioral therapy. We're addressing the structure of the thought process. There's a lot of things you can do at home to work on this as well. One of the main ways I would suggest, if this is a new concept to you, or even if it's not, is to begin to pay attention to and increase your self-awareness about, what am I thinking? One way that you can do this is, there's a lot of apps out there. One of the ones I recommend sometimes is Dailyo. Or you can just use your good old-fashioned alarm on your phone, and set it every few hours and consciously begin to think about, where is my headspace? Am I thinking negative thoughts? Am I thinking, catastrophic thoughts? And then kind of just begin to log or keep a journal of how you're feeling and what you're thinking. And if you do this for 3 or 4 days without trying to change anything, you're going to begin to see patterns of how often you're thinking negative thoughts, or how often you're thinking self-defeating thoughts. Or it might show you how often you're thinking functional or positive thoughts. So that's number one. Pay attention to your process. Begin to log and monitor your process and look to identify patterns in your process to see where you need to make adjustments. And then the second thing I would mention is, after you've built some self-awareness, start to, when your alarm goes off, or when your app goes off and you find yourself thinking a negative thought process or something that's not helpful, begin to redirect yourself. There's lots of ways that this can be done. There's lots of coping skills that somebody can learn. But one of the main ways is, I just tell people, you've got to arrest yourself. You've got to pull yourself out of that, that hole of negative thinking, and just try to replace it. One thing about thoughts is, if you try not to think about a pink elephant, you're going to think about a pink elephant. You can't just erase your thoughts. You have to replace them. So you're going to begin to try to replace these thoughts with something more functional and more positive. If you're struggling to do that on your own, one way to do that is to just give yourself something else to think about. One of the best ways you can do that, that I've had a lot of success with clients, is to, if you're just sitting stewing in your negative brain juice, try to listen to an audiobook, listen to a podcast, listen to something that's going to be helpful, call a friend, talk to them, let them know, hey, how are you doing? I'm struggling a little bit. You're basically just going to really interrupt yourself and not allow yourself to continue in the rumination. So that's one way to curate, a couple ways to curate your thought process. The main thing is to increase your self-awareness, and don't just allow yourself, you can't afford, most people can't afford to just be mindless about their thought process. It usually doesn't lead to good places mentally. So with that being said, I would recommend that you do the little journal, the timer for a few days, kind of see where you're at with it, and see if you can start making small adjustments that will, in the long run, retrain yourself to get to a better place mentally. All right, thanks for stopping in, and I'm probably going to make a booklet to go along with this series, so stay tuned and have a good day.